Natalie, you work closely with Daniel Djurica, linking him to resellers that need technical support on complex post-development, correct?
Yes, Daniel is our international support manager and is also a worldwide expert in advanced Milturn and Swiss type posts.
He and his team of 7 technical experts provide continuous close technical and post support to our resellers worldwide. That needs a lot of dedication, don't you think?
Definitely. Daniel and his team work around the clock, giving the best support to our resellers.
You know, the fact that Daniel is a super nice guy makes people all over the world like to work with him. That is one of his most incredible traits. That and the fact that he is such an expert in his field. I think it's about time that we give him a special award for all his years of hard work and smart work. Let's try to call him.
Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Natalie. Hi, Linda.
How are you?
Hi.
Are you working hard and smart as usual?
I would say it's quite difficult to do anything in the very beautiful springtime here in Serbia. I can say that.
Daniel, we would like to give you an award for working so hard and smart all these years and going out of your way to support resellers all over the world. You are a true professional and a super dedicated person. We would like to present you with a Microsoft Surface Pro 3 or a 16-inch MacBook Pro.
Whoa. Thank you very much for this. I don't know what to say, but it is an honor to receive such an award. But I would like to thank you in the name of the international support team over here, and thank you for having a trust in us, in our team. This is the
Hello
team
to all the
grow.
team, to all of our
Yes.
great team.
This is the team that always grow, learn, and constantly improve themselves, all in the sentence to give the best support on the CAM market. Yes, and thank you for having a trust, and of course, thank you for allowing us to grow together with the SolidCAM.
Daniel, congratulations. This is a very well-deserved award. Thank you for your impressive and productive work.
And now
Thank you very much.
we will give you the stage to hear your presentation on Swiss Post Development.
So
All right.
bye-bye for now. Enjoy your new toy.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, Linda. Bye-bye.
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 Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you are watching us today. Welcome to my part of the presentation. I'm Daniel, and I'm live from SolidCAM International Support Office. And today I'm going to show you all the stages regarding to the Swiss type post-processor development. We'll try to be transparent, show you all the steps and stages, of this process. And of course, at the end of the presentation, we will also show you all post-processors that we have done so far. So let's basically start. Let me go over here. So I will be basically analyzing the stage of customer before and after. Let me put myself over here. Sorry. So I will be analyzing basically the stage of the customer before and after he starts, using SolidCAM Swiss type solution. So the post-processor development is, by my opinion, the most important post-sales activity that you can provide to your customer. So basically, the customer judges you and your work by this implementation. Therefore, each step, it's important in order to achieve this goal. So I divide these steps in basically 4 stages or 4 steps, which is like getting the informations, writing the post-processor, on-site verification, and post-implementation activities. And each of these steps, as I said, are very important. So let's jump into it. So at the early beginning, before doing anything, it is strictly important to collect all information related to your machine. And The very first is about the machine and control model. I think this is the very basic, where on most of the machines looks the same. Also in the Swiss type, you have basically the plate on the back side of the machine. Sometimes it's also on the front side, showing you exactly the machine model. It is also controller model. It's also very crucial. So make sure these things are noted very well. The second is the programming manual. Okay, there are various programming manuals, the formats and their qualities. Some machine brands make them better. Some make them, let's say, not worse, but less quality. Let's say like this. And it doesn't matter is it a PDF form, or maybe sometimes you need to make a scans of the hard copy. It is important that you have actually a manual. Without the manual, you cannot basically understand the machine. So programming manual will help you to understand how machine actually understand the code that it's in front of itself. So this was about the programming manual, and the third thing is for sure the G-code examples. Now, it is extremely important that you receive the G-code example from the customer, that it's 100% running it on the machine. Now, I will suggest that you always have, the most basic example and the most advanced one. I will also advise you to have a drawing together with the G-code example. Okay, this will help you to understand the G-code and what are the operations and steps that customer is taking in order to machine this part. So it will help you to analyze, the way how the customer programs this part, but also from the other hand, it will help you to understand what are the order of the M codes and G codes in order to run this machine well, especially in some specific cases of the machining. The fourth thing is the holder configuration. Each Swiss type machine may have at least some number of holder configurations. Usually, machine manufacturers give you the possibility to not have only one holder configuration, but many of them. And usually some customers don't change them very often, but some customers do. So make sure you grab the information about the holder configuration that customer use, and also make sure to ask them if they are constantly, oftenly, or not changing the holder configuration. If they do, make sure that you also grab these configurations as well. And over here, I just have an example of the Citizen L20, looking on the front tool, back tool post, long drill. And also it's very important step to check, on the controller, you have the machining data. Each machining brand has its different, but basically machine needs to understand what is the holder configuration that you're running now. And basically in this page, you can see all these numbers that you can see. You don't need to actually to understand them, but it's for sure, represents when you go to the programming manual later on, it will be clear to you to understand, what is the holder configuration that your customer is currently running on this machine. The third thing is the 3D models of the machine for the customers who actually wants to have the machine simulation. I would strictly recommend to have for all Swiss type machines. And some machine brands have them ready. Some machine brands don't have them. From my experience, I figured out that these are pretty hard to get. And even if you get them, they're not well optimized. The export size, like it's very big, which will definitely influence your simulation experience. Definitely there is some work in optimizing the 3D data later, so you get something that it's very less in size, so you get the best programming and simulation and verification experience. Anyway, Yes. Now, in the case when there is no 3D models, okay, and there are two cases. There are really no 3D models existing. Maybe machine is old, but there is also examples when the 3D model, in order to get the 3D model, it takes like, like infinite, like 3-4 months in order to get it. You're right now, you need to finish your project and you don't have 3D data. So how you can do it? So the luckily the programming manuals are well. There is a lot of drawings inside, and they are very well accurate. From my experience, I get very positive experience with this. So most of the 3D model of the machine, the main component of the machine, the movement part of the machines, can be designed based on the drawing get from the programming manual. There are some elements that it's maybe not possible to do it, but definitely you can do it, on site. You can take some measurements, necessary if it's necessary for the verification and simulation. All right. This is the results of, for example, one of the machines that we have designed, which is fully optimized, like very small in the size, very fast simulation, So I definitely encourage everybody to who don't have an access to any 3D model, data available, that yes, you can still do it on the up to this level. Of course, it's not necessary to do it up to this level, but at least to explain you and to tell you that yes, this is actually possible. All right, now the second stage. Once you have all of these informations, it's also, let me also go back for a moment. It is also extremely important after getting all the information that you validate your data. It happens many times to me that programming manual were wrong, G-code examples were wrong maybe. This can be easily validated if you take a look on the G-code examples, compare it with the programming manual. So make sure you read everything, before you actually start writing the post. So we make sure that we read all the things necessary. We check out the G-code examples, and then we are going to the stage where we are actually writing the post processor. All right, now writing the post processor. First, we have the very first stage is building the kinematic. So SolidCAM understands the kinematic through the VMID file, which basically consists of the axis, linear and rotary, the turrets, the tables, submachines, a lot of information relating to the controller itself and the working style for this machine. And all these data actually is stored in VMID file. I think this is the very first step. Now the second step is writing the SolidCAM to NC translator in internal language of SolidCAM, which is called GPPL, and the extension for this file is GPP. I would say this is the most intense step of writing any post processor, not only for the Swiss type for sure. And the third is building the machine simulation, the XML data, as you can see on the very right picture over here, is making sure that simulation, the user receive the best verification and collision free experience. Yes, so he can analyze all the movements of the machine, provided with a G-code output. All right. Now, after these three things are done, let's say, of course, by doing it everything online or on site, it's of course not possible. You need to validate it on the machine, that's for sure. But you can at least bring it to the up to 95%. So before we are going to the customer side, we make sure that from all information that we got them, that we actually build the post. Okay. There are many things that are not in the documentation. Therefore, it's very important to test it on site. Now, before going on site, there are also some things that you actually need to do. It's first of all, it's make a programming of your particular CAM pod, make the visual check of your machine simulation, do a visual proof out of your G-code. So These things are very important. You need to make sure you program at least two CAM parts. Okay. Now the first CAM part is the part that you think is the uh, most convenient for this kinematic, for this controller, for this customer. Okay. There are tons of rules that we have internally. What this CAM part should have, what kind of geometries. But basically, there is only one rule. Make the shortest toolpath that will actually give you the best output results. Okay, so to validate the post-processor output. Okay, then visually check it in machine simulation, and then also visual prove out your G code, through the some multi-channel application where you will see if all weight codes are okay, if all the G codes are on the right spot, also compare it with the customer one, and so on. Now, there is one thing about like what I said about the CAM part. So first part is definitely the one you choose. And the second, it's also very important, is the customer part. Usually customers always give this task, like please provide me a G code for this part. Usually this part is not the very first step that you need to do. The first step, it's always test your part, validate your part, and of course it is important and like no excuses that you will do also the customer part. This is extremely important, and I will talk about later on why this is also actually why not. Testing the customer part will actually give you confidence, that okay, this works great. Also, it is practice that customer give you the part which is actually the part that they will machine in the close future. So they want to have the G code already ready by that time. So it's very important to bring the confidence, to this customer by doing his part as well. And now let me go big one. So now I'm going to show you the whole process of writing the post processor. I will give you a short overview how actually it looks like. Yes. All right, now let's go back. Let me go over here. So once the post-processor is ready, we are going to to the customer and to validate, yes, the output on the machine. But the very first step is to first of all schedule it on time. Okay, so you need to understand that customers usually runs this machine 24/7. So it is very important that you schedule it beforehand. Okay, you communicate with your operator about specific things on the machine. So first of all, it's what is available stock size, what is available stock material, holder configuration, and tool availability. These are extremely important to be ready on the date before you actually go to the customer. So make sure you have these ready because they can save you a tons of time on setuping it. Okay, the Swiss type machines are not so easy to set up. Okay, so make sure those are ready. So it is also extremely important to keep in mind, as I said, these machines are running 24/7. So don't use, or at least try to not use the stock size or the tools that are not available on the customer side. Okay, so customers like when you actually use the setup, the closest that they have, because they can, after the post-processor validation, they can, continue running actually their parts. All right, now we are at the customer and we are validating our post-processor on the machine. So we are coming, right on site. We are delivering the G code. Everything is ready, and we are making, the post-processor validation. There are tons of things that you need to check. So I would say, first of all, the arcs, planes, compensations, plane rotations, part transfer, axis patterns, superimposition, tons of stuff. Okay. And once on site, from my experience, it never happened that the very first code runs from beginning to the end. That's why it is extremely important that you are on the customer side. There needs at least to be there for 1 day, maybe 2. It depends of the first test. Now after the first test, it can be completely like, okay, we are too far away. Okay, so please continue working with your pods, or there is like, okay, we can adjust it on site. So make sure you have the experts next to you, or you either that it's done online or on site. Make sure you can adjust the post. It will be the best if you can adjust it on site. It's very important because you give the confidence to the customer. Okay, these guys can change the post on site. So if I call them, they can always modify according to my needs. Yes, so this is extremely important. And third thing, after the adjusting, validate it again, and make sure that G code runs, from beginning to the end without any manual modifications. The results, of course, is that you have at least 2 pods, one tested by yourself and one the customer one. What is important to say in this case, keep in mind that that these parts, once you machine it, to store your data, these data, to have them on the cloud. So if necessary, you can always use this data for various of things like validation of if once you modify the post, you can easily check these parts if they work also with your post-processor modification. So keep that in mind for sure. All right, and the last thing is the post-processor implementation. Of course, you will install the post-processor. But what is important is to build also documentation. Honestly speaking, from my experience, what we are doing over here, we are providing documentation for the most available, let's say, machines on the market. So for instance, here it's the Citizen L32 M12, which is the highest configuration machine from this series. So basically doing the documentation for this one, it's easily to build documentation for any of the L series. Okay, so the L series is very important, M series is very important. So for all of these, we do have a documentation ready for our customers. So make sure you build also your documentation. It will help you, you and your customer. It's a like win-win situation for sure. It's time invest that really pays off. The third thing is online or on-site training. I said here online because of this pandemic situation, but basically on-site training, it always have the higher value, that's for sure. The goal of the training is, teach the customer, how to use the software. Of course, SolidCAM, it's very intuitive. Milling, turning, there's no problems in that, okay? The customer, even by himself, by watching the videos and so, he can run actually these machines. But what it should be, accent put on is how to program the machine control operations, how to make a part transfer, how to make a channel synchronizations. These are very important things, to be on the training itself. And the last thing that also Djurica mentioned, I would say it's very important to run very first parts with your customer. This is extremely important because customers wants to make G-code very fast, okay? So they need to run the production. So he will just then say, okay, how it was this, and that, okay, I struggle a little bit. And even if he was this close, to generate the G-code, he's stuck somewhere, and make sure that this point is actually clarified completely, and he can actually generate the G-code and run the machine. So running it very first few times, it will bring the confidence to him that he can do it as well. Okay, so I will give a short conclusion and on this. So the very first thing what we achieved by this is that we build a trust to the customer by doing all those steps, give him the confidence, okay? Then we make, now we make him, put him to the point where he can make his parts faster, and he can make, the even more complex parts than he was able to do before the SolidCAM. And this was actually our main goal in all these steps that we that I just now explained to you. Now, for the last, I would like to say, a few words about Swiss type post-processor availability. As you probably seen this presentation before, this slide, I would say this is the slide of all available, I would say the topmost machine brands on the market. And we will be transparent about the availability. So far, we have built more than 50 Swiss type machines worldwide. Okay, I'm just mentioning here all the post processors available on the built from our the SolidCAM Ltd. Of course, there are also a lot of posts developed by our resellers. Thank you for doing that. And over here, I would also mention a few things about the SolidCAM forum itself. For all of you who get the presentation, you can click on this link on the SolidCAM forum, which will bring you to the Swiss type post processor availability. So you can see anytime, available post processors. And the third thing, the last thing is the online post processor database. Here we are also putting a lot of latest new stuff that we upload every week. So please stay tuned and also check this database as well. So for the end, I would like to say thank you for looking at this. I hope it was very informative. I hope you have more better picture about how we are developing the post-processors in SolidCAM. And there are a lot of post-processors developed from this office over here. And I would like to take this opportunity to present SolidCAM International Support Team where we are located. So whenever you are getting in touch with us, okay, don't ask, okay, what is the weather in Syria or what is the weather in Israel or Germany. We are actually located in Serbia, so enjoy watching this video.